another block news, but we have a special guest with us. It's CryptoCandor. What's up? Thanks for joining us.
What's up? Thanks for having me on.
And by the way, you guys can see our faces this time.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
We're on video.
It's weird.
Yes, we're switching it up this time around.
I shaved this. I shaved for this.
You did?
I did. I don't know why I shaved it downstairs, but I shaved the upstairs too.
Like I mentioned.
Well, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You want to be clean.
I'm still kind of,
Remembering this
because the weekend was really
a lot
of beer.
What did you do for St. Patty's Day? Did you do anything at all?
Yeah, so I'm getting old. I went out, but I'm not, by no means, this is an exaggeration. I was in bed by like 11 o'clock.
Nice.
Good for you.
I mean, I had green beer, so that counted for something, right? I mean, I did like the thing you're supposed to do.
No, green. It's just tie-dye, not tie-dye.
Food coloring.
Yeah. But I was so disappointed when I turned 21 to figure that that's what they did. I thought they actually brewed green beer, and I was so sad.
No.
But it's basically on the.
And to make matters worse, it was like Miller Lite, which is basically the worst thing ever.
What?
Yeah,
it goes well with the food coloring.
When I go to barbecues and I see like the Coors Light and Miller Lite and Bud Light, I can't. I'm like a craft beer guy, so I don't want to drink that.
Yeah, that's not for you.
It's
I'm
not
for
for
the
me.
effect, not the amount of money that I'm spending on it. So they all make me just as drunk.
Yes, but we would love, because there might be some people in our audience that haven't met you, and I'd love to kind of learn a little bit about you, maybe how you got into crypto and what made you start doing kind of what you've been doing for the space and what you do in the space.
Sure. So a couple years ago, somebody paid me in Bitcoin. They made me open up a Coinbase account, made me give them my wallet address, which was daunting, considering I had zero experience with crypto.
Yeah.
I then left that Bitcoin on Coinbase, not realizing kind of what it was, and I had no idea what to do with it. Fast forward about a month later, I go back and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this Bitcoin crap. It was worth more money. So I was like, all right, this is interesting. Let me do a little research, and down the rabbit hole I went. It started with like trading, which was a bad idea. Well, originally I wanted to mine, and then I realized very quickly that was not going to be feasible. And then I tried to start trading, and I was horrible because I'm too emotional of a person to trade.
Every minute you're just like, buy.
I couldn't focus on anything else other than the fact that I was trading, so that didn't work. And then I started wanting to understand all of these projects that were out there, and I was so surprised by the fact that there was no YouTube channels that were making content that was like middle of the road educational. So we have like people who were doing mining stuff or people who were doing really overwhelming tech stuff, and then we had like the BitConnect chillers. There was no in between. So I'm like, well, maybe I just like teach myself about the stuff and make videos in the process. And it kind of really took on a life of its own. If you had told me, 2 years ago this is what I would be doing now, I would have laughed at you. So I definitely did not anticipate the traction that it caught, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got to where I am.
That's super. I have two questions.
Shoot.
First off, how did your client convince you to accept a Bitcoin if you had no clue what it was?
So fun fact, it was actually my brother. He owed me a little bit of money, and he was like, all right, well, I'm going to pay you in Bitcoin. And I was like, all right, whatever. Obviously, I trusted whatever he was sending me.
Good.
And then, so now I've surpassed his crypto knowledge, which he thinks is pretty funny.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
What year was that you kind of like
got introduced to it?
2017. So,
wow.
like Bitcoin, do you guys remember when there was that dip and Bitcoin's price went down to like $800-900?
Yeah.
I remember multiple dips.
Yeah, it was like 3 months before that. I got into it. One of my first individual purchases of crypto was Ethereum, and it was at like $17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
nice.
It was a while ago.
Well, thank your brother for us.
I will. I'll let him know.
And I really like that you had the same issue in starting in the reason why you started your YouTube channel as the same reason why we had an issue in the podcasting, because it was all very, very technical. And I was like, okay, that's not for me. That's not what I'm trying. I'm just trying to learn what it is, how I'm supposed to use it as a regular person. So that's why, I'm technical. I understood a little bit, but there was no way I was going to mine. There was a possibility I could have been a trader, but it wasn't going to happen. So why did you originally want to mine instead of trading?
Because I thought the idea behind creating something out of thin air was really almost magical, as weird as that may sound. I was like, wow, this is really neat. Like, okay, so I set up a bunch of computers and I let this algorithm run or whatever, and now I'm just like making money. I've always been like into tech and gadgets. My best friend has nicknamed me Inspector Gadget because I have like cameras and computers and gaming consoles and all kinds of stuff. So to me, it was just like the next step. Okay, I like gadgets. All right, let's learn how to mine. And when I started doing even basic research into it, it was well over my head for knowledge. So I just didn't even bother trying to waste my time because I figured it was going to be a big investment and then ended up burning me, I'm guessing.
Yeah, you were right. It would have been, as far as I know, an individual working from home can't really mine. It's not a great idea. So awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here.
So how what is it that you like about blockchain and like about crypto that made you stick with it, that made you trust your brother?
So I guess just the sheer size of the whole space. Even though like the amount of people in it is small, the fact that there's like, I don't know, the last time I checked CoinMarketCap, it was like 1,700 projects on there. And not to say that that's a good thing, but the idea that like anything is possible, I guess, right? You know, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen in a year. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But the idea that there's so much exponential growth and evolution that's changing the way everything could possibly be used and worked on and dealt with in the future. That in the community, I like the fact that like I can tweet at Charles Hoskinson, and because it's crypto Twitter and it's small, I could probably get a response back from him. Like I like the fact that
we've done that too.
Yeah, you know, like I like the fact that everybody's very level. It's a level playing field. People don't care much about gender or religion or about anything. Like that stuff just doesn't come up in conversation. It's always when Lambo, when Moon, whatever, which is annoying, but it's cool that everybody has like such a common ground that it makes it easy just to sort of talk to anybody.
That's awesome.
That's true, because yesterday I was at a barbecue. It was mostly crypto people, and it's just like easy to like talk to everybody about stuff. Even though we're in a bear market, like these are people that when you meet people in crypto that are still around during like these times, you know for sure they love and believe in this stuff. You know?
Absolutely.
So that's how we don't talk price on the podcast because, you know, we want to, because there's people behind everything that are working their butts off, developing code and blockchains, you know, that might have real utility and not just hopes and dreams.
Yeah, and they may not, there may not be a reason for that price of that particular token to go up. It may just be that token and you just kind of use it as is. If you're investing in it to go up, you're a moron. Don't do that.
But yeah, let's talk some general news. Are you ready to talk some general news with us on block news? All right. Okay. So Daniel wants to talk about something. I'm gonna say the thing. It's Civic sold beer at South by Southwest, and that's the ICO Civic.
Sure. And that's the story. We're good. All right.
That's it.
No.
So they just had beer.
Because I'm just gonna say a general topic. Hold on.
I just doing the title.
That's fine. No, I don't know if they did South by Southwest. I'm certain it does SXSX.
Yes, South by Southwest.
And I thought it was like a music festival.
It is.
It is technically.
Because like
hold on.
Alexandra AOC.
I know what it's all about because it's part music festival, part film festival. So that is the draw of South. Because back in the day, I used to do short films. I'm like, I'm going to get into South by Southwest, which I got denied. But, you know, I tried. But yes, that's the cool thing. It's music because it's in Austin, first of all. Music, I believe. If I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. But it's a musically driven city. Yeah. And then they also have the film side of it, which is cool. So music and film.
I know Robert Rodriguez was a big part of it.
And he lives in Austin.
And he lives out there. So Civic kind of brought in a bunch of vending machines, just regular, plain old vending machines. And they were selling beer through the vending machines using their blockchain.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was really cool. And actually, if you watch the chart, this is one time I was looking at the chart, when they were giving away their token. They were giving away to people there just to buy a beer. They gave them enough to buy one beer. And the price of Civic shot up during that time, during South by Southwest. But what was interesting is, okay, so in order for you to buy beer, you have to verify your age. Mm-hmm. So what Civic does is they worked with with Texas or the city of Austin. Somehow, I believe it was Texas altogether, and they were able to allow you to verify your age and everything, and you were able to buy a beer through the vending machine without having to show your ID. It was already verified through your blockchain wallet.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Which I thought is great because now we can get beer much faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than ever before.
And that's the goal, right? Faster beer always.
This was the whole point of the blockchain. Bitcoin was for faster beer.
Yes.
No, but I just thought it was great because that's just proof of what we're trying to talk about. You can control your identity, control your privacy, you can control exactly what it is you're trying to do. And Civic, so far, is the first one that I can tell to prove it and work with a government with blockchain to do it because they had to get approved by the government in order to sell it through these vending machines.
Yeah, see, that's really cool because first of all, if you're at an event, you have to think of the sheer amount of kind of ridiculousness that's going on, and losing your license in an event like that will put your whole weekend. That's it, right? So being able to verify your age via your phone and not have to take out your ID, risk losing it, risk having it stolen by someone who's underage, that alone in itself is worth its weight for an event like that. And that is a perfect example of like some real world use cases that are making lives easier and not more cumbersome.
Wow, that's a part adoption right there.
I love it. I thought it was a great thing. And you pointed out, Lucy, did you see the Fire Festival? I saw the Fire Festival.
Yes, I did.
So like, first off, there was a ton of problems, but like they had mentioned other problems at other festivals when it came down to selling liquor, selling alcohol. So this could really I went to the first Rams game here in LA, and it took me a halftime and another quarter to get one beer.
What? Really?
Yeah, it was awful. And that beer
back in the day when
this was back in the day. This was the very first Rams game when they came back.
When they came back to the Coliseum with the USC.
Yeah, exactly. It is awful.
Oh,
never going back.
That's an old stadium, though. I mean, that's terribly built.
But they're not the only ones. I've been to Dodger games, and where it takes me forever to get just a drink. And so having these vending machines, having your information already verified and ready to go, awesome. Now, what's to say I can't give my daughter my phone? She's 2. Could give my daughter my phone and have her go to the vending machine for me. There is that aspect, but you know what? I think for the most part, most people are good and they'll do it properly.
Beer did they sell? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't care.
Would you buy beer from a vending machine, though? Let's ask that question.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. If it meant that I didn't have to stand in line and I got to go back to doing whatever it was I was doing before I decided I wanted a beer, yes.
Absolutely. But you wouldn't put them in, obviously, a bar because you want craft beer. But this is event-oriented kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying, I can't. It was like Coors Light and all that crap.
Like a couple rows of beer, a couple rows of water, and you scan like the QR code on your bracelet, and it says, "Okay, you're over 21." Like that, to me, is effortless and would cut down all kinds of traffic.
Oh, that would actually kind of work if you use your bracelet versus to kind of cut down on the possibility of an underage minor. Yeah. Which is what a minor is. Somebody's underage.
Underage minor.
Right.
To use your information for to buy beer at a different situation. If you just have the bracelet that you got when you got to the event, that could work just as well.
Well, I mean, where I really see this being awesome is like there's vending machines that have been around forever and they're still here. So think about potato chip machines and candy machines and just some regular stuff, like not just beer, like sodas and stuff. And
well, the reason why beer is so important is because that requires verification. I don't need to verify anybody's age to get candy. I don't need to verify anybody's age to get potato chips. Like beer is.
You don't want to know when you bought like that Reese's peanut butter cup thing on the blockchain. You know when that went through? Oh yeah, that's when I bought that Reese's peanut butter cup. At that vending machine.
Where it was.
I guess I see your point. Okay, so you're saying that it's because of the age thing that maybe it's worth, but
they're using their KYC stuff basically in order to be like, hey, you can have a beer.
So then, but wouldn't it still be adoption if you're using crypto to purchase soda, Cokes?
True, but this is about more. I wanted to focus more on the privacy aspect, your data, what it is that you're allowing people to see. They were able to set it up so all the government wanted to know was who you were and how old you were. That was it.
Okay.
I also think that alcohol and cigarettes are so heavily regulated in the U.S., right? Like they don't mess around when it comes to drinking ages. So the fact that they were able to convince Texas that they were legitimate and it wasn't going to cause problems, they must have had some pretty good proof or some good actual technology behind them saying to them, hey, this is going to not increase the liability, this is going to decrease your liability. So that alone to me makes me feel like that they're doing something right, obviously.
Yeah, and could you imagine if you hooked up that machine to a breathalyzer? to see if they have had too much, they can cut them off.
That'd be great.
That would be interesting. I don't know how much I would like that though. I gotta be honest.
Kid, come here. How many of you have blown into this?
Yeah. You're just carrying around somebody all night to blow into the machine for you.
Yes, you have a designated blower.
Well, listen, if they did, South by Southwest is a big event. It's not a small event either. It's like, that's a good event to get that in. Now let's get into more events, So is Civic, anything about them pushing this to other things?
I don't know. I reached out to the CEO on LinkedIn.
Well, there's news. You read articles.
No, I didn't see anything else. I reached out to the CEO.
Oh, you did reach out.
I reached out.
Oh, you literally.
On LinkedIn, but like he hasn't hit me back up.
He's like, Daniel, what's up, man? You like those vending machines?
I told him, dude, I love the fact that you sold beer, and see if he answers me back. That's the beauty, like you just said earlier. That's the beauty of crypto. You can reach out to the CEO and ask questions.
Yep.
So I did it.
Cool.
But I will say that in Texas, though, that was probably the easiest state to do it in, because I know for a fact in Texas, if you are a minor but your parent is with you and you say my kid can drink, it's all right.
Oh, okay.
Which is weird.
All right.
In Wisconsin, they bring kids to the bar. Like their families bring the kids. It's like normal.
Oh, but that's how they do it, like internationally. So all the international people were like, "What's the issue here?"
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Yeah. Come visit the U.S. You'll learn the issue real quick.
It sucks.
All right, so let's move on to our second topic. So Daniel, this is another one that you kind of recommended, Cosmos.
Yes.
What's going on?
I don't know too much about this particular blockchain, but it was a cool little announcement. It's not going to moon or anything like that, but there's a blockchain called Cosmos, and they hooked up with what they say a popular music streaming app called Playlist. I've never heard of it. Have you heard of Playlist?
No.
That's like when you go and you see a pizzeria. It says the best pizza in the world.
Yeah, that's basically what this is. But I just thought it brought up a lot of questions, and again, we're talking about use case. We're talking about what's going to happen and how it will affect us in the future in terms of getting our groceries, getting our beer, getting entertainment, and being able to verify certain things. So they hooked Cosmos blockchain hooked up with Playlist, and they're going to somehow integrate their coin onto a decentralized. They're going to create a decentralized music streaming service.
Oh, okay. Actually, I heard of something about some streaming platform like giving out Bitcoin for people if they use it or something.
Interesting.
I don't know if this has anything to do with it.
We need to find that place because I'll take whatever they're willing to give out. But I don't do you?
I've never heard of this thing called Playlist.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either. But have you used Brave by chance?
Brave?
Yeah.
I'm a huge Brave. I love the whole project. Yes, I'm a huge Brave person.
We just had them on recently. I guess it was a month ago.
Oh, really?
We're big fans too. So.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're going to do it the same way Brave does it. The browser does it, where it kind of like you put up a certain amount, and every month, depending on what you hear, they kind of distribute your money that way. Or if you can actually use the coin to buy this song, buy that song, do whatever. Either way, it's going to be interesting. Should it succeed, should it work, that means we're going to be getting Apple coin. That means we're going to get a Spotify coin. We're going to be getting
aren't we already on target? There's like talk of a Facebook coin.
There is
Facebook coin, JP Morgan coin.
Yeah,
it's getting insane now.
But I do think that's a good use for it. I just don't know if, I don't know. I just have a hard time seeing the average person switch from, like, people are religiously religious about what they use for their, like Spotify or Pandora or Apple Music. Like, I don't see people switching to a no-name one, transferring all their music.
You're right. The question now becomes, what is the benefit of playlist decentralization? I feel it's more for independent artists.
Yeah.
And should that kick off, should that go, that's huge, because now an artist doesn't have to sign with a label. Now an artist doesn't have to do it. They just do it on their own, and we cut out the middleman, because labels are asses to me.
They should have partnered with like SoundCloud.
That would have been awesome.
That would have made way more sense.
But that's the problem, is that's another thing, and that's the problem, is that a lot of these big companies are still scared to like come out publicly. Some of them aren't, but some of them are, before they say, hey, we're going to team up with this. But
yeah, it's difficult to, I mean, the only one that I've been hearing a lot of lately of a big company partnering with, and constantly, of a big company partnering with a blockchain is actually IBM partnering with Stellar.
Yes.
Yeah, I just saw that this morning.
They've been doing
that for a while
now, so.
Or they just released like 44 banks or something are working with them.
But if IBM wasn't in blockchain, I would have been surprised. They've been like a seed in the American history of technology for like not 100 years, but a long time.
Over 1,000 years.
For 1,000, like IBM. Look at all the years that technology has changed in software and stuff. They've survived, and they're still a huge company.
Well, that's why they've survived.
That's why, yeah.
Exactly. They're able to adapt. They're able to change, and
yeah.
they, like a lot like Windows. They stop caring about certain things and let other industries take whatever they were doing, and they just kind of kept on innovating and moving and moving forward. So the fact that they like blockchain, the fact that they want to continue with blockchain is great. JP Morgan coin and Facebook coin are going to be very interesting experiments. I think IBM has a better solution.
That's an interesting word to use, experiment. Is that what you think they are?
They're experimenting because that's what they all, like, nothing's proven yet.
That's true.
Except for obviously, you have Bitcoin and Ethereum as peer-to-peer payments, but nothing's proven on a large scale like IBM or
Facebook has tons of baby photos, so now they're just going to say photo of babies on the blockchain, right? That's what happens when Facebook chain comes in?
Yeah, Facebook chain.
Okay. All right, cool. Can't wait to make sure my baby
and memes
on the blockchain and memes on the blockchain.
By the way, are you on Facebook by chance?
Yeah, I am, unfortunately.
You're still because Andy's been off it for a little while.
Over a year.
I have family overseas, so they want me on it.
Oh, okay.
Because they can then stalk me via the internet, and otherwise they don't see me. So if I got rid of it, they'd all be up in arms.
Yeah, I mean they haven't moved on to Instagram yet. They haven't moved on to the other things yet. Well, did you notice that they changed their share button? Really?
No.
I'm not on there, so I don't know.
It's gone.
It's gone?
So you know that glitch that happened not glitch, but you know how it went down? Facebook and Instagram all went down last week?
No, I don't use it that much. I wouldn't have noticed.
On Reddit they were talking about how
okay.
Twitter, they're all like, it went down, but I'm still on Twitter. I'm fine.
Yeah.
But they took away the share button, and I think.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
And I think so you can still share like business stuff like that, which doesn't make sense. But they took away the share buttons from people's personal posts. So if I put up like a picture, nobody can share my picture.
But what about like GoFundMes and stuff like that?
That's why it's kind of. I think they did it because they're getting a lot of backlash about the fake news spreading.
Sure.
Situation.
So they're like, get rid of the share button.
So they're like, if they are not going to be responsible, we're taking it away from everybody, except for the people who pay us, which is
naturally.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, wow. Well, then now what's the point? Now how people are. That's my issue with Instagram. You can't grow very easily on Instagram.
They make it hard to. You have to have 10K or more in order to do links on stories. Now, Snapchat allows you to do that for not having any followers. I think it's.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I think it's. And look, I think it's awesome when you do have an account that is over that, but I think it's unfair to people. Like Twitch allows you to become a streamer at the bottom of the barrel. Mm-hmm. You have a chance to get a subscriber. Same with YouTube, right? Mm-hmm. But you're telling me that on Instagram, I have to prove that I have 10K in order to do like shares to my stuff?
Actually, let me like interject a bit. YouTube has totally changed it. And it's people think YouTubers make a lot more money than they do. And YouTube basically changed it now to, I think you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and you have to have at least over, I forget how many overall total channel views. Okay. And every year it has to be consistent. Like you don't like hit the benchmarker and then stay there. You have to continuously stay above a certain metric of numbers now, which is very annoying. But you're right about Twitch though, because I used to stream on Twitch way back in the day, and it's the best because you can just start being like a streamer
and
a person.
Yeah, like I can literally have that button that says subscribe to my channel for $5.99, and I might not have any followers, but you could. So there or something like that.
This is why we need to decentralize. This is why we need things like Brave. We need things like possibly Playlist, where we can just screw YouTube and screw Facebook and the centralized stuff and do it on our own and go directly to the people that we love and tip the people that we love, and somehow it will work. I feel like that should work.
Interesting.
Somehow, but. Here's my thing. My tip to all YouTubers and everybody out there who are trying to make a living doing this: fucking bypass them. Like get your own advertisement. Demonetize your video. Don't allow them to put a commercial on your video, and at least you can kind of squeeze them that way, and you can do your own commercial within your own video.
Mm-hmm. If I ever get really rich, I'm gonna buy those ads that are on YouTube and like, this is gonna be 3 seconds. Click that button right away. Like I'm gonna get rid of the skip. And just go like, hey, and then let it go. Like 2 seconds of me. Hey, because I'm helping people, I just make a 2-second ad, and like they don't have to deal with that.
That'll work out.
Skip. And when I'm a billionaire, I'll fix everything.
All right, that does suck. I look forward to it.
But that does suck, and that's true. Is your main outlet pretty much YouTube, you'd say, for crypto?
Yeah, I mean, I post other places. I'm on Library, which is one of my all-time favorite decentralized platforms. It's like YouTube, but it's an actual program on your computer. I've been developing and getting better. They're probably, like, I would say one of the major ones out there right now that are competitive as far as the way, like, user interface, the way it looks, the way it works. It's very easy. I'm on that. I'm on DTube. I'm on Bitbacker. I put stuff on Patreon. I put stuff basically everywhere, but YouTube and my website, I post all my videos there too. But they all kind of are embedded back from YouTube, which sucks. Because if YouTube goes down, I used to save like hard copies of all my videos, but it just took up too much space, so I can't do it anymore.
You got like
that's tough.
Gigs upon gigs.
Yeah.
Oof.
Well, you see, like we spoke before the show started. MySpace lost 12 years of music today.
What? Really?
Yeah. So this is a good example. Well, what happened was, there's not many people on MySpace anymore, but that means that they lost their so they were doing like a server switch or something. Because MySpace is still technically around.
MySpace is a thing.
Technically.
They slipped up and something deleted like 12 years of music. Poor
Someone got fired.
MySpace. Someone definitely got fired from MySpace. How would you like to be the person that got fired from MySpace today? And be like, who do you work for? Oh, I just got fired from MySpace. It's like,
wow. You're like, what, 10 years ago? They're like, no, today.
We're still around.
What did you do? Friend someone?
I don't know. But anyway, sticking to like kind of the internet realm, it's not like generally new news. It is recent news. But do you know much about, did you ever do a lot of torrenting and BitTorrent stuff? I don't know if you do anymore. Okay.
Yes.
So,
I torrent.
I'm certain.
Most things.
Okay, got it. And that goes for like probably more than 90% of people. In the world.
I'd say so.
So less. Maybe a little less. In America, I don't know. I'm sure.
Well, at least American millennials. If we're talking about American millennials, then
definitely.
It depends on the age group and the country that you're restricted.
So you heard that they announced that they are attaching an ICO or Tron took over, and now they're saying that they're going to add a blockchain to the BitTorrent network.
Yes.
The BTT.
Now here's my problem. Now I was a former torrenter. I was in my college dorm room in 2000 with Napster, like ripping things like faster than God, because back then it was my first experience with a T1 connection. This is back in the day. I'm an old man. But basically, I think it's in bad taste to take something that technically uses mostly illegal downloading to now be attached to a currency. And I don't know, there's not a lot of information about it. And first of all, I'm not a big supporter of Tron either. So what do you think about something that isn't illegal? It is not, but what you get off of it is. So how do you feel about a currency being attached to something that is potentially downloading mostly illegal things?
So my thought process with stuff like this is not everything needs to be tokenized. Like I don't see a point, really. And if anything, all that's going to do is fuel that thought process that people have that everything related to crypto is nefarious, which we don't want. So I don't really know why. No, I don't mean that.
From what I could tell when doing the research on what BitTorrent's token is so that way you can use it to buy stuff on BitTorrent, like actual legitimate, like they're going to sell things on there.
But you're getting it from an illegal activity.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but isn't most of your content like stolen to begin with?
Yeah.
So I have a major problem with that ethically. Right now, if BitTorrent said we are no longer letting you, this BitTorrent is no longer, we are just selling T-shirts, then I'd say T-shirts on the blockchain, sure, but you're not selling anything.
T-shirts on the blockchain.
You're not offering an avenue for illegal. We've been down the Silk Road thing, right? Now we're kind of teetering with Tron buys this company. I
have a feeling it's going to pull a Napster. Now Napster is like a legitimate. I don't even know if it's still around, by the way. But like
I don't
Napster
think it is.
It was hanging around for a little bit.
But it became legitimate after a while. You could.
It did what MySpace did. MySpace was still bought by someone else.
But so Napster was Spotify before Spotify. Like you could spend, I think it was $10 a month, and you would get as much music as you'd like. Right. If BitTorrent does the same thing, somehow licenses out videos, programs, all that stuff, and you're spending a certain amount per month, they will dominate, but it has to be legal.
Yeah,
that's what it has to be.
I think Candor said it correct. Like, not everything needs blockchain, and this is one. I'm a huge enthusiast, and I'm saying this does not need a blockchain. So I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, no.
And that's a big question. It's like 2017 was full of like property coins and couch coin and
tokenize all
now,
the things.
Right. So now we were just to kind of come back from earlier. Remember we were talking about big companies looking into it. Now it's like everyone else is. These big companies are making coins. So now we're going to get oversaturated with that. So I'm a little worried. Like adoption and development is great, but the multiple like oversaturation of currencies I don't know if it's good or bad really. That's another question. What do you think of that oversaturation of ICOs? And
I think that stuff's going to weed itself out. I think I don't think it's helping. I think it makes it really difficult for a new person to come in and want to, let's say that they can invest in something and they're in a country that's, allows these ICOs and they want to. It's not as bad as it was last year, but it's still overwhelming. How is the average person who has very little crypto experience going to come in with all these hundreds of different types of freaking coins out there that do 1,000 different jobs and differentiate between what's good and what's not, especially if they haven't had the time to research what's already pre-existing and being done. That was actually one of the major reasons I made a channel, was because when I realized that there was multiple projects doing the same, who had the same goal, trying to achieve the same thing, was when I was like, oh, wow, this is a lot more confusing than I thought it was.
Yeah. My fear is very similar to what your fear is, that there's going to be so many different coins that people are going to be very confused. But I also have a fear that there's going to be a lot of wasted money. Like, how many, like, as a kid, it rarely happened, but sometimes you would come home with the Chuck E. Cheese token in your pocket, and you couldn't do anything with that.
There was a guy actually trying to sell Chuck E. Cheese tokens as Bitcoin.
He successfully did it.
Seriously?
Yeah, it was like early 2017. A guy was selling Chuck E. Cheese tokens to people on Craigslist because they didn't know better.
Oh, I should be laughing. That's so bad.
On the streets of New York, and he convinced him it was a Bitcoin.
It's okay. He got caught.
Oh, good. Good. Well,
he did.
Karma.
He did, but
you know what? Good for him.
Hey, I mean, what an idea he had.
Way to capitalize.
Yeah, I mean, a fool when a fool when their gold are soon to be parted. I have no gold, but yeah. So you come home with wasted money. You come home, like, I have euros in my pocket that I cannot use. I just have it there as a reminder of why I like digital currency, because I can go anywhere with it. But I have euros in my pocket that I can't use. We're gonna have a lot of wasted money out there that, unless there's a way to return it back to get like our money back into whatever form we needed to get it back into, it's going to get very annoying and people are not going to adopt.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's definitely a deterrent. It's not good for newcomers to the space.
Yeah.
I guess that kind of wraps up our news, but I did want to ask you a question. We do ask a lot of companies about like the future, like how things are looking. How do you feel about the future of crypto just in general?
I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm positive would be the overwhelming word that I feel, considering there's projects like Brave out there, right, that are doing things, and the Civic thing. It just goes to show that blockchain's getting used, it's getting implemented, and there's actually a use case for it to improve on something and make it easier. This may not be a popular opinion, but I think we're still a very, very long time away from it being commonplace and my grandmother using it. Not to say that that day won't come, but I think that we all need to be a wee bit more patient for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I read a story yesterday, and it was from it wasn't a cryptocurrency news one, but it was a technology news site, and they were talking about how right now, even with green energy, Bitcoin emits a lot of carbon, a lot of green gas, a lot of gases and stuff. So even if we switch over to completely green energy, it's not feasible. So it's making me rethink a little bit about Bitcoin itself. I still like it. I still like the idea behind it, but we have a long way to go to figure out what's best for our environment, I guess, then two, our economy. I don't know which one to put first, to be honest. But
yeah. Well, nowadays it's hard to really pick which one to go first. But exactly. I agree with you. I had this discussion quite a while ago with somebody because we got into like proof of stake versus proof of work. And I kind of had the same feeling, like, I'm not. I think somebody asked me if I was a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm not. I see both sides of the coin. You know, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that, I mean, not that its days are numbered. I think there's always going to be a place for it, but I don't think it's going to be this overarching success that everybody expects it to be if we continue it. If everything stays exactly the way it is right now and just time passes, I think the whole being a little bit more eco-friendly is going to weigh a bit more in the future.
Yeah, I hope it becomes like gold, where we have it, we use it to store, and we only use it when we absolutely must cash out on it. Right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the main thing moving all of our funds, making payments and all that stuff. Especially if it's going to take 10, 20 minutes for a transaction to be verified, and that's if we're lucky in some cases.
So lucky, but I mean, I always ask that question nowadays because sometimes where we're at is so different from week to week. So now I feel like, I mean, I don't know. So I think I always tell everyone that we got a long way to go. I mean, I've already been here for like 5 years, 6 years. So if I could wait that long, we have way longer to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So but we do want to thank you so much. I'm so glad we worked this out, and obviously we're going to keep the communication open, and either we'll see you again as a guest on the show, or we'll do something else together. Can you please just share with our audience where they could find you and all that awesome stuff?
So basically any social media platform that you can imagine, I'm there. The handle is always CryptoCandor. I'm never going to email you guys independently asking for anything or selling anything. So if you ever get messages on, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, posing to me, it's not me. Look at the handle.
Has somebody done that already?
Yeah, I've gotten teams that have messaged me and been like, okay, so are we on for this sponsored video next week? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never spoken to. Yeah, so.
Congratulations, though. That's just a success.
Yeah,
so. Do you want this card that we're giving to you to sponsor your show, or we're not?
Yeah, so YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, it's all CryptoCandor, one word, no numbers, no nothing, just easy peasy.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. And of course, you can find Daniel and I at thecoinboys.com. There's buttons if you want to go off of the website. You can listen there, but there's SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play, and Spotify, and a whole bunch of other things. But those are our main ones. And please rate, review on iTunes if you can. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and at Coinboys Cast for all of our social media.
That is completely wrong. It's the Coinboys Podcast.
Coinboys Cast. I don't podcast.
Let me do the social medias.
At one point, we had one Coinboys Cast and one Coinboys.
No, it's true. I had the Instagram was Coinboys Cast and the Twitter was Coinboys Podcast. It made no sense that I had two separate.
Yeah,
handles.
that's confusing.
So the main handle is Coinboys Podcast.
There you go.
Instagram. Don't confuse people. Thanks so much. Have a good night. I know you're on the East Coast, so thanks so much. And we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, guys.